Knowledge is a superpower, and let me explain. First, let me go ahead and debunk everything that we hear or even things that we say to ourselves or to other people. Oh my goodness, I grew up with 10 cousins in one bedroom. We had a hard life. Wow, there are multimillionaires and billionaires that had that same situation or worse, and what allowed them to get to where they are today. They said because they had nothing, they had to work harder than everyone else, and that built their work ethic, and which has allowed them to be so successful till this day. Oh my goodness, my mom permed my hair when I was younger. She permed my hair when I was 12 years old. It hasn't grown back since. Girl, please. You think that one perm when you were 12 years old ruptured your roots? Ruptured roots is insane. You think that one perm when you were 12 years old completely destroyed your roots? No, it didn't. Babes, your hair done went through multiple life cycles, okay? Your hair is not at the health that it is supposed to be or that you want it to be because you simply do not take care of it. You do not do the deep condition. You don't do the trims. This is for males and females. Some guys, they've been trying to grow out them dreads for quite some time. Grow out those beards. Last one. Oh my goodness, this person said that they were going to do this and that for me, and now that they're not, that's why I'm in the situation. Okay. Well, did you also want to contribute your success for the rest of your life to that one person that actually doesn't respect you? Okay, now that we got a lot of those out the way, that goes to my one point. Do not be a victim to your past. Now that there's so much knowledge out there available where you don't have to say, because that happened to me, now I can't get here. That's just not the case. Now let's go dive a little bit deeper. We need to think about what we're thinking about. So a lot of times when we are trying to learn a new skill or we're trying to do something different, we're intimidated because it's like, okay, one thing might be, I don't see other people that I know doing it. Or, okay, not anyone that is doing it looks like me. Whatever the case is, you need to think about what you're thinking about. Okay, so learning how to code. Learning how to code, wow, that seems super complex. I dropped out of school. Like, I was terrible in college. Like, how can I learn how to code? Okay, now if we're thinking about what we're thinking about, in college, they were so focused on test taking, right? They were so focused on a structure. Now, there's so many different ways of learning nowadays, right? You can learn through activities, like they make it fun online, ChatGPT. So it's like you were failing because of a structured way, a universal way of learning a concept, but you've always been a visual learner. So let's use that same concept in coding. Okay, so if I'm actually thinking about what I'm thinking about, only reason why I failed or dropped out of college was because they weren't teaching me the way I am meant to be taught. So if I go ahead and debunk my negative way of thinking, maybe actually I can learn how to code. So let's go ahead and invalidate those thoughts and then validate the right ones. Oh yeah, I can actually code. Matter of fact, I can actually do whatever I want. Okay. And it sounds so easy, but at the end of the day, starting is overwhelming. Whatever it is, it's still going to be overwhelming, but constantly thinking about what you're thinking about. It's a constant habit that you need to instill in yourself. Every time there's a negative thought, you need to go ahead and combat it with a valid thought. Like, not just a happy thought, no, okay? Like, it's cool to be happy, but let's go ahead and validate why that is a negative thought and why it's not true. You know why I actually came up with this title? My favorite two movie genres are rom-com and superhero movies. And I still sometimes dream about being a superhero. I've never really wondered until I kind of got into my self-development books and podcasts and just started thinking about what I'm thinking about. And I was like, why do I like superhero movies so much? And why do I still sometimes dream that I'm a superhero? And I was like, okay, superheroes, they're saving the day, they're coming in, they're like, a lot of times they're the underdogs, sometimes in disguise before they pop out, and like no one really knows who they are. They just come in, get the bad guy and go out, right? They just serve, do their purpose and leave, but they're just like praised, like, oh my goodness, wow, like you just saved my life. You know what I'm saying? And me, I'm gonna wrap this up, but I also started watching Grey's Anatomy, and I'm on season 15. I'm watching it from beginning to end. And I'm sorry, I've been looking at myself. I need to look at the camera. Like something will be going on, like, give me the head of cardio. And I'm like, wow, like why do I like all these positions like that save the day? And it's more so like doing things that other people cannot, for one, and also serving. Those two are the main concepts that I found that I love the most, and that's exactly why I've loved superhero movies so much. So doing skills or learning a skill that other people can't or just not willing to do, and serving others. Like everything that I'm learning or doing also serves other people in some sense or some form, okay? So that's why I'm so obsessed with superhero movies. Rom-com is just because I'm just a romantic, but yeah, and it's just like, just thinking about what I'm thinking about, I just thought that was so cool. So even the little things, when we just take the time, why do I like that so much? You know, you can learn a lot about yourself. While you're learning a lot about yourself, we'll see that sometimes we can get frustrated with ourselves because we're like, okay, I'm thinking all of these thoughts in my head, like, I want to do this, I want to do X, Y, and Z. But then you're looking at your reality and you're just like, my reality looks nothing like my wants and desires. Like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we can get frustrated when those two do not match. But remember, God gives us everything that we need, not what we want. Sometimes what we need is also what we want. So that works out. In our frustration, when our reality does not match our wants and desires and what the things that are constantly placed on our heads, it's okay to be frustrated. Matter of fact, you should be happy. You know, it's not like the happiest day of your life, but it's you should be happy, okay? Because that simply means that you're not in alignment and that you're meant for more. Some people, their wants and desires are to climb Mount Everest. Maybe they don't have the funds, maybe they don't have the resources, connects, they can't travel, whatever the case is. You know, so that's on their mind. Have you had the desires to go to Mount Everest? Are you currently in your bed sitting there like, oh my goodness, that's what's constantly in my mind? If yes, great. If no, that's because it's not placed in your heart. Had a desire to build an entire building? If yes, okay, that's what's placed in your heart. If no, because that's whatever your wants and desires are for you, and it's for a reason, right? We all have different wants and desires, right? And they're placed in our heads specifically for us. They're not there at random. But we're not thinking about these things for no reason. Like, they don't just come into our minds for no reason. That idea that you just can't shake, it's there for a reason. Pursue it. Think about what you're thinking about. Why do I keep thinking of Chicago? Why? Think about these things and pursue them. Actively pursue it, right? Don't just think on something and just let it rest. You can even journal it, write it down. I'll get into journaling in a minute and how important that is, but write these things down. Your mind is so powerful. Like, it's not just coming up with things, ideas for no reason. My third point is, what can I do today to make myself better? Let me ask you a question. Would you rather be tired from the work or broke from the laziness? Okay. Then get knowledgeable. I already told you knowledge is a superpower, okay? And I meant it. And one way you can start pouring into yourself without making it feel like you're taking time out of your day to do this is by listening to a podcast in the shower, while you're doing your hair, while you're doing your makeup, while you're eating, while you're cooking, whatever the case is, these little moments while you're driving, these little moments where you're typically listening to music, a lot of times we are listening to music that is not pouring into us. I think we can all think of a couple lyrics that isn't gonna help us be 1% better today. Even just replacing it completely, oh my goodness, the amount of clarity you get, right? Replacing music completely with a podcast, with a book. I'm not a huge reader, so that's why I always say a podcast. But but with the podcast, a YouTube video, something like this, even that can pour into you, change the way you think, or just a perspective that, like, oh, I didn't even think about it in that way. Like, okay, that might have just shifted something in me to make me want to do this. Okay, I never thought about mindset like that. Oh, I never thought to think about what I was thinking about. These little gems, tidbits pour into us and help us be better every single day. And I do want to sidebar this as well. I am starting to not like the word motivation. Don't allow this video to motivate you. Actually take notes and use these concepts on a day-to-day basis. Number 4, you survived every tough moment you've ever been through. Now, I mentioned earlier to have a sound mind, and I've heard this quite some time, and it wasn't until last year I actually got the definition of what a sound mind was. I thought it was like, okay, a sound mind, if I'm having anxiety, okay, I can relax, have a sound mind, peace, in which to a certain extent, yes, it is peace, but also having a sound mind is remembering all that God has gotten you through. Something comes up again, it's like, okay, I remember when I was on my last dollar and I was able to get out of that situation. So this new situation is nothing because I remember when. I have a sound mind. Okay, and once again, back from the point from earlier, we're gonna go ahead and invalidate those new negative thoughts. And let's say this is your first time having a bad time and you're like, there is nothing I can look back on to invalidate, like now I'm actually stuck. No, you're not. Have a sound mind in knowing all these testimonials of people that have it worse than you, less resources as you, and still made it out and made a great life for themselves. You can literally YouTube, TikTok, people who started from nothing. Steve Harvey was in his car, Oprah, whatever, all these people who made it out, they literally had nothing. And they were able to become billionaires and multi-millionaires, right? Have a sound mind in knowing if one person did it, you can too. And just simply have peace in knowing you're meant for more. This discomfort that you may be feeling is because you are not in alignment and you are meant for more. That's because the thoughts are in your head are not matching your reality, in which that's simply okay. That discomfort is trying to wake you up and tell you that you are meant for more. Have peace in that. Have peace in knowing that your mind is not trying to stop here. There's something in you that's telling you that you are meant for more, because you are. So those negative thoughts that try to creep in, that try to tell you, sometimes you are meant for more, but sometimes you ain't. No, invalid. Leave me alone, okay? You are simply meant for more, because don't forget about those wants and desires that you have. They were placed in your heart for a reason, okay? Let's go ahead and bring that back to the forefront and go ahead and pursue that. Let's do the work today. Be 1% better today so we can be one step closer to those things. Now, I want to quickly touch on journaling, and this will be my last point. I can go on another video kind of explaining more about journaling, and I would actually love that. But I found journaling to be one of the best things I could have ever picked up on, okay? And Journaling has actually saved my life. A lot of people describe it as a mind dump, and I actually love that word for it because it's a way for me to vent to myself. I've journaled in my notes app in my phone. I've journaled in on my iPad, but now I've started journaling in Notion only. But I've also had video journals. I've journaled in all kinds of forms, right? And I also would have paper journals. I have them all, okay? But Notion, I just love journaling in Notion now. I also call it a diary of my success story because I have journals back from 2020 of how I'll be journaling and crying, okay? And then let's say 2021, I'm up. I'm like, wow, 2020 when I was crying, not knowing how I was gonna get out of that. The fact that I remember when I wrote that, and now I'm living a great life. I wish I can just hug that Aaliyah, but Aaliyah, just know we made it. We are doing good now, it's okay. Whatever the case is, in 2022, you're like, I cannot believe this. It's a constant roller coaster sometimes, but it's it's so cool to see how every tough time I've had, I've always gotten over it. Even if it's just a little thing or a big thing, I've always gotten over it. And I have a visual representation of how God has gotten me through it all. I have a visual of how and why I should have a sound mind. Okay, so anytime I'm going through a tough time, sometimes I do like to go back through my journals and look at my ups. Sometimes I look at my downs, dang, I was kind of down. So I'm and let's say if I'm having a hard time, I'm like, wow, at least I'm not that down. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, we're elevating, even though I'm feeling like I'm having the worst time, I'm still better than I was before. And journals can really give you that, because sometimes you'll forget, oh wow, I forgot when this happened, wow, that was actually a terrible time, you know what I'm saying? And then I see on the next page how my life completely changed 1 week later. Right? You don't know when God is going to change it around for you. You just have to keep faith and keep pushing and constantly invalidate those negative thoughts, even when you don't feel like it. Okay? Constantly invalidate them. I am capable. I am valuable. I am qualified. I can learn new skills. I have everything that I need. I am the woman or man for this job. Whatever you need to say to yourself at this moment for whatever you're wanting, whatever you're pursuing, or whatever you're anxious about, whatever it is, completely gas yourself up. And then when that breakthrough happens, and it will happen, you'll journal again and you'll have a smile on your face. Now you will have a written testimonial of how good it can get. Thank me later. We all have these superpowers within us that we can lean on. Use them. Become your own favorite superhero, okay? I can't wait to see what you do with all this information. Comment your favorite thing that you learned from this video, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Bye, guys.